Hello YouTube, in this video I'm going to be taking a B2 essay about the Vikings and up-leveling it to a C1 level and beyond. Let's begin. This is the original B2 essay that I am going to edit and improve, so I will read it first of all. The Vikings, a balanced argument. The Vikings are famous around the world for being terrifying fighters who killed anyone on their path. However, this is not the only story. The Vikings also had many amazing achievements. Let's take a look at these historical people and find out if they had positives as well as negatives. The Vikings were fearful fighters who made many terrible acts. For example, in 793 they attacked the church of Saint Cuthbert in Lindisfarne. They killed many innocent monks and took treasure. Also, the Vikings had slaves. These were prisoners from their attacks. They invaded lands and killed the inhabitants. However, also the Vikings achieved some amazing things. For example, Leif Erikson was a Viking explorer who discovered America 500 years before Christopher Columbus. The Vikings were amazing builders of ships who fiercely explored the world. They built incredible houses and used the stars like a map. In summary, although the Vikings made many terrible crimes, also they achieved some incredible things. I believe that instead of judging them by modern values, we should accept them as people from long ago and learn from their good and bad. This essay is what we call a balanced argument. A balanced argument has an introduction, a paragraph about the positives and then a paragraph about the negatives, or vice versa. Then there is a summary paragraph, and in this the writer can give their personal opinion. This essay has some really good features which I'm going to talk about. However, there are also some errors and we can definitely improve it and take it to a C1 or a C2 level. So let's begin the editing process. First of all, let's take a look at the title, The Vikings, a Balanced Argument. So we do not need to use a balanced argument in the title. Instead, I'm going to write a question. Were the Vikings awesome or atrocious? So what I've done here, I have used two antonyms. An antonym means they are the opposite. So awesome means really, really good, and atrocious, really, really bad. But I have also used alliteration because awesome and atrocious both begin with the same letter. So that makes a really catchy title. Let's take a look then at the first paragraph. The Vikings are famous around the world for being terrifying fighters who killed anyone on their path. Well, first of all, it would be in their path. And that's a great expression, anyone in their path. There are no grammatical errors in that first sentence. However, I am going to up-level it. I'm going to start with a fronted adverbial. Known throughout history. The writer has said are famous around the world. However, I'm going to focus on throughout history. Known throughout history as brutal warriors. Brutal warriors is better than terrifying fighters in this context. So that is our fronted adverbial. I am now going to write our main clause. The Vikings, now it says here, killed anyone in their path. There is a fantastic expression, and the expression is to lay waste to. We use it in the context of history with armies and with people like the Vikings. The Vikings laid, that's the past tense, waste to all in their path. I don't know if that is historically correct, but I'm just correcting the English. So any historians out there, leave me a comment if this is not the case. Known throughout history as brutal warriors, always reread each sentence you write. The Vikings laid waste to all in their path. However, this is not the only story. The Vikings also had many amazing achievements. I like however, and I'm going to slightly change that. There was another side to these historical figures. Figures in this example is referring to people. And then it says here, let us take a look at these historical people. I have said historical figures, and find out if they had positives as well as negatives. I am going to use let us. Let's and let us mean the same thing. However, let's is a contraction which is more informal. And I'm going to use let us formal because this is an essay. Let us, and a fantastic phrasal verb, to delve into. It means to investigate. That's a really high level and advanced phrasal verb. Let us delve into Viking history. Instead of let's take a look at these historical people, let us delve into Viking history. And then it says and find out and examine whether, and then I'm going to use a noun, atrocities. An atrocity is a terrible act. For example, a mass murder or a genocide or a terrorist attack. We call it an atrocity. And it is related to the adjective atrocious in the title. Let us examine whether their atrocities outweigh their achievements. So I recommend you pause the video now and compare those two paragraphs and see exactly the changes that I have made. I will be rereading the improved essay at the end for any errors. So the next paragraph. This is the paragraph of all the negatives about the Vikings. The Vikings were fearful fighters who made many terrible acts. So first of all, this is actually incorrect. You would not say to make terrible acts. You would say, I would say commit, who committed many terrible acts. I'm going to start with firstly. The Vikings, we've also got a mistake there with committed. Look, it's double M and double T. Really interesting here. The writer has used the adjective fearful, and this is incorrect. So if we take a look on screen now, fearful means to be full of fear. It means to be scared of something. Fearless means you are very brave, that you have no fear. And then there is another one, fearsome, means that you are scary, you scare people. So in this example, we definitely would not use fearful. We could either use fearless or we could use fearsome. I'm going to choose fearsome. Firstly, the Vikings were fearsome fighters. And then it says, who committed many terrible acts. So I'm going to say, well, we need a comma because we have a relative clause with who. I'm going to keep who committed. I'm going to use, instead of many, I'm going to use countless. This is a really advanced piece of vocabulary. Who committed countless. And instead of terrible, let's use appalling acts. And then we have, for example, in 793, they attacked the church of St. Cuthbert in Lindisfarne. Going to change this ever so slightly. Let's have, for example, in 793, and then I'm going to say a Viking raiding party. So the verb to raid is when the Vikings, for example, will go somewhere, will destroy it, will kill people, will steal. So a raiding party means a group of people who are going to raid a place. A Viking raiding party attacked the church of St. Cuthbert. Now you may notice that there is an abbreviation in English. ST means saint. It can also mean a street as well when we write addresses. The church of St. Cuthbert in Lindisfarne. I recommend you look this up. If you type in Viking attack Lindisfarne, it's a very fascinating piece of history. And then we have here, and then it says, they killed many innocent monks and took treasure. I'm going to add this onto the end of this sentence as an adverbial. And instead of saying killing, I'm going to use this fantastic verb to slaughter. Usually we use slaughter with an animal. However, when someone murders a group of people in a very violent act, we can use the verb slaughtering. It means to kill in a really violent and brutal way when it's used for people. Slaughtering many innocent monks. A monk is a religious man. and stealing treasure. So you can see I've put those two sentences together. Now it says here also, the Vikings had slaves. And then I really like the way the writer has used a dash. These were prisoners from their attacks. Absolutely fantastic. They invaded lands and killed inhabitants. So again, I am going to put these two sentences together. So in addition, whilst invading lands, they killed or enslaved the inhabitants. And that's a fantastic verb. To enslave means to make somebody a slave. Now we're going to look at the paragraph of the Viking achievements, the positives paragraph. Now the writer has used however. I'm going to use on the other hand because we are giving the other side of the argument. On the other hand, the Vikings, this writer uses also incorrectly. You wouldn't say also the Vikings achieved, it would be the Vikings also achieved some amazing things. Let's use the adverb undoubtedly. Undoubtedly achieved some incredible feats. You will notice we're not talking about your feet, which is spelt F-E-E-T. A feat is an act or something which is very, very difficult to achieve. For example, Leif Erikson was a Viking explorer who, and then I'm going to use this phrasal verb, set foot in, means to go to a place, who set foot in America, and then instead of 500 years ago, let's say half a millennium before Columbus. In history, we don't have to use the first name of famous people, so we can just say before Columbus. We have the Vikings were amazing builders of ships who fearlessly explored the world. They built incredible houses and used the stars like a map. Now, we've got a problem. This bit about used the stars like a map, that is to do with exploring and sailing. So really, that should be part of the other sentence. I'm going to squash those two sentences together. I'm going to use this, indeed. This is giving emphasis to my next sentence because it is about the previous sentence. And I'm sure you have a word in your language like indeed that works in this way. Indeed, the Vikings we have got here amazing builders of ships. You would say we have a word, shipbuilders, and we can't say amazing again. So let's use this fantastic adjective, outstanding. It means really, really good. Shipbuilders, not that word, shipbuilders. And explored the globe. And then I'm going to use the bit about the stars, using the stars to navigate. And now we can write our sentence about house building. Finally, we're giving our last positive achievement. They were, let's say, highly skilled house builders. If I knew a little bit more about the Vikings, I would like to add something on here. So I'd maybe put a comma with who. For example, a relative clause. Whose houses still stand today. I don't know enough facts to improve this sentence, so we'll have to leave it at that. If you think you can add a piece of information to that sentence, please do it in the comments section. We now have our summary paragraph. In summary, although the Vikings made many terrible crimes, again, we would not use made many terrible crimes, we would say committed many terrible crimes. Again, the writer has also used also incorrectly. They also achieved some incredible things. Also usually comes before the verb. So I'm going to improve this. In summary, we could say in conclusion. And I'll use whilst, which can be used just like although. The Vikings committed, M-I-T-T-E-D. And then it says many terrible crimes. Let's say many, and then this fantastic adjective. Unspeakable crimes. If something is unspeakable, it's so bad and so terrible we can't talk about it. And then let's say crimes against humanity. So these are crimes on a large scale that have affected many people. Whilst the Vikings committed many unspeakable crimes against humanity, they also achieved some incredible things. Let's say no one can deny they accomplished a great deal. A great deal means a lot of something. No one can deny they accomplished a great deal. And now I'm going to change the order of this sentence. I believe that instead of judging them by modern values, we should accept them as people from long ago and learn from their good and bad. The last bit is definitely incorrect. They're good and bad. They're good deeds and bad deeds. We need nouns here. We've just got two adjectives, good and bad. However, I'm going to change it even more than that. I'm going to start off with an adverbial. Rather than, that means instead of, it's more formal. Rather than judging them against modern standards. Modern standards means our values. I believe we should appreciate their achievements and learn from their mistakes. Now I am going to read the finished final essay and see if I can make any last minute changes. I'm going to include this C1 level essay in a PDF ebook which will contain all my advanced English essays, so check out the links in the description of all my videos for when that is ready. Let's begin. Were the Vikings awesome or atrocious? Known throughout history as brutal warriors, the Vikings laid waste to all in their path. However, there was another side to these historical figures. Let us delve into Viking history and examine whether their atrocities outweigh their achievements. We could possibly change side to dimension. However, there was another dimension to these historical figures. That is slightly more formal, although side is just as good. Firstly, the Vikings were fearsome fighters. I like that alliteration, fearsome fighters, who committed countless appalling acts. We have alliteration again, appalling acts. For example, in 793, a Viking raiding party, look, that says attached, and it should say attacked the Church of St. Cuthbert in Lindisfarne, slaughtering many innocent monks and stealing treasure. In addition, whilst invading lands, they killed or enslaved the inhabitants. I'm going to change stealing to looting, which can be used when, in this context, when one group of warriors will go to another city and take the treasure, looting treasure. On the other hand, the Vikings undoubtedly achieved some incredible feats. For example, Leif Erikson was a Viking explorer who set foot in America half a millennium before Columbus. Indeed, the Vikings were outstanding shipbuilders and explored the globe, using the stars to navigate. Finally, they were highly skilled house builders. In summary, whilst the Vikings committed many unspeakable crimes against humanity, no one can deny they accomplished a great deal. Rather than judging them against modern standards, I believe we should appreciate their achievements and learn from their mistakes. I am really happy with that essay. I really hope that you have enjoyed this video and that you found it useful. If you did, please give it a like, and I would love to hear a comment in the comment section about any views or ideas that you have. If you know any other students of English who are aiming for a C1 level, please share my channel with them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.